Now, I noticed this week that there is far more of a trend now to start introducing monster heels, and also those cartoon type characters are now making it onto TV. We've seen people like Cara make strong entrances. You've also got someone like Awesome Kong who's waiting in the wings right now. They are pushing real characters almost from our era, the 80s, the 90s. I'm actually liking this new direction.
Yeah, I'm loving this new direction. I think from the reports that came into the HQ during the week, it looks like Trips is in command for the most part with the new talent, and he's definitely doing a good job. I liked everything this week. Absolutely everything, from Raw to SmackDown. And I don't normally like SmackDown. I think you're kind of like me. Sometimes, kind of, goes over the head a little bit. But yeah, very, very strong Raw especially. And Awesome Kong, I think that was probably one of the most needed things in a long time. The old school vignettes and the monster heel feel. That shit's about to get crazy.
Of course, also, not to forget, Awesome Kong, who had her promo this week on Raw. There's a TNA stalwart that's kind of moved over now to the WWE. It's going to be very interesting to see her in there. Do you think it's going to be a shock to see her on WWE TV?
It's gonna flip the Divas division upside down.
For once and for all, I think it's much needed. I think she's got to work it out with the politics, though. I will say that much. I don't know if she knows what's ahead of her.
She's going to be a game changer.
That's right.
No better man than the game, I suppose, to be behind you if that be the case.
It's all about the game, and I think Awesome Kong is about to start playing for sure. Awesome Kong is probably going to be going in there maybe at some point getting that belt. For a long time I was sort of stuck in that place where you wanted to go back to the Attitude Era and sort of dreaming of the original Monday Night War era where you had WCW and WWF taking each other on. That competitive tension ultimately led to very, very controversial storylines, but more and more I found myself now kind of getting used to the PG era. I have to look back and see that that's exactly why I started watching in the first place. It was for almost that kind of humorous take, if you like, on these kind of less serious characters. It's not so much life affecting, it's just pure entertainment.
I think over the last couple of years it's had so many ups and downs. I think to make it short, because I'll ramble on this one, but the 90s, I suppose, you had the kind of almost like superhero like characters like your Hogans, Warriors. Big lull in the early 90s where I think they forgot about the entertainment side of it and had less of those kind of big characters, and just became a bland wrestling show for the most part, which was rescued by, I suppose, the Attitude Era and the blood and the tables and the chairs and the violence. And then I think another lull in the early 2000s where that had to stop and it went back to being the boring, bland wrestling show. But I think now, maybe in the last 2 years, it's slightly turned around. I think in the last 6 months, maybe more so than ever, the entertainment is the key word.
Do you like these new kind of almost comic book type characters now?
Well, the only reason why he looks like he's a comic book character is because he's a luchador. I mean, I don't know if the WWE is going back to the cartoon era, as you guys were saying, or not. I do think that wrestling works in cycles, and I think in order to have an Attitude Era, you kind of have to have a PG era before it, right? So, they do this PG era, John Cena as the equivalent to the Hulk Hogan of the 80s being the Superman, the ultimate good guy. They build up some bad guys, a few gimmicks here and there. And then eventually, once we see all these old-timers, like Triple H and Edge, and Taker, and whoever else may be on the list due to retire here sooner than later, like Mysterio maybe, they might start gradually getting back into more of an Attitude Era. I would say next year or the year after.
They've certainly ramped it up. It's much more, as you say now, an entertainment package. It's got colourful characters. It's got characters that remind me of those old gimmicks from the past, and I wouldn't be surprised now to see maybe a return of a Kamala. I mean, they're going to go and bring back some of those legends to kind of mirror what might maybe be current on the TV. Now, with Sin Cara, a guy like that, has he benefited from perhaps an Alberto Del Rio push? Are they now looking at Mexican workers as being very important? You've had those kind of eras where the Mexican workers have been pushed, and I certainly can remember a lot of high-flying Mexican stuff back in the late 90s, and that kind of went away. But I think even with Mexican wrestling now, you see people sort of wearing those masks, and as a joke maybe, but Mexican wrestling is somewhat over. Of course, the Nacho Libre and all that, people identify with it a lot.
They do. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the mystique, or maybe it's just because it looks kind of cool. I think probably maybe the latter of those two. Guys in masks jumping around the place, beating each other up. I mean, I suppose beats guys in tights that all kind of look the same. You know, if you got a mask on, I suppose straight away you're different, really, aren't you?
Is this guy WWE material? Okay, yeah, he had a great name in Mexico. Yeah, he was pretty phenomenal there. But, you know, this is the major leagues of all wrestling. And can he handle the different styles that he's going to see? And can he handle the pressure and the thousands and thousands of people watching him all the time? I also hear he's got heat backstage because he's showing his old matches to the locker room, trying to say that they're all shoots. And he's pretty much embarrassing himself with it.
It's a good one. I didn't hear that, but is this the era where, almost like that late 90s time, where they kind of had Mexican guys on? There were several guys there. The names at this point escape me, but I remember Raw always having some kind of high-flying...
it was like a lightweight division almost.
It was.
Yeah.
Was it the...
Cruiserweights, wasn't it?
Cruiserweight, was
there a Cruiserweight Championship, wasn't there?
It was something very interesting at the time, and it picked up those Raw cards. Have we just kind of hit that cycle again now, where they kind of think, well, look, we'll give them a try and try some of these guys? I mean, to me, both Alberto and Sin Cara are, over very fast.
Well, the thing is, why they have them is because they want to have a greater presence in the Mexican community. When WWE just doesn't think North America or say the U.S. or Canada in particular, they think worldwide, and they need stars to represent these various nations that they want to be popular in. So, with Rey Mysterio kind of being on his way out, they need to, restack their Mexican wrestlers just a little bit. They don't need to have 10 Mexican wrestlers. They only need 2 or 3 really, really good ones for that. And they got them.
Now, with PG era, of course, we all worried that it would bring a different take on everything, and perhaps it has, but like I say, it took a little bit, but now I'm firmly behind whatever they're going to do, because they certainly are, I think, building the product. And we've seen so many departures in these past few months. Top guys now are pretty much gone, and many have no plans to return. So you're looking at pushing now what they've got, and essentially a lot of these guys, like perhaps as up and coming as he is, Cody Rhodes, he does even look with that mask a bit plain, and you're going to have to bring colourful characters on. Sin Cara got a massive pop this week, and his match was incredible. Absolutely great.
I think it's crazy now that there's so many of them finding, I suppose, their spots in a way. Some of them are definitely a bit lost still, but I suppose it was easy for Del Rio to come in. I mean, he kind of came in high end, I suppose. Sin Cara, the same with those vignettes and a strong push. So easy enough for those guys to do, but I think Cody finally kind of has found his place. I mean, Legacy was a decent run, but really I don't think anyone would have seen him come out the other end for the better, if anything, maybe Ted DiBiase. But I'm happy for Rhodes. I think his SmackDown stuff is very funny. And I liked his little kind of pre-match promo with the hood up as well. I think that's good stuff for Cody Rhodes. I think it'll be a quick but not very quick rise for that guy.
Of course, we always did put over the original Smoke and Mirrors theme tune. I'm finding the new one to be quite good. I do like it as well.
I like it.
Of course, I only realised there just a few weeks ago that you can actually buy that Smoke and Mirrors original on iTunes.
Is the new one there?
It isn't yet, but I'm sure it'll make it there. That was a bit of a revelation to know that actually some of those theme tunes are now getting single releases.
It's great.
You don't have to wait for the album anymore.
It's great. I must have a look to see. Was it either told me the Matt Militant one was up?
That's there, the T.O. Long, yeah.
That's a good one that you wouldn't think of, I suppose. I wonder how big the catalogue is, but I mean that's good stuff going forward. Saves them putting out the pieces of plastic that probably cost a lot to make, and really they mightn't even make the money back, as opposed to those digital files that in an instant.
That's right, WWE and Jim Johnston now with that iTunes method of getting their songs out, and I think it's a great step forward. I think, and that's Hall of Fame worthy. That the iTunes library. I mean, it's more than Pete Rose as usual.
It's true. I mean, the guy's it doesn't stop. I think he does like the Tough Enough music and. The little bits in between as well.
What about the Cara music? It's very, very good.
It is good. I listened to it actually. I was trying to get it as a ringtone, would you believe that, today, and as tough as it was, I did find it, but I did forget to actually put it on my phone, but I'll do that.
It's a good one. He's got a great entrance, and I think he's way over already, and it's not a surprise really, because for me the vignettes got him over, and that's such a classic thing, and I think it's going to do everyone benefit to do more of those vignettes and keep them as kind of obscure as they can be, and certainly with the video effects these days they can make them all look different, so it certainly is great. The Sin Cara match, I've said it already, but it just was amazing. You had Primo in there, and it's almost like they kind of said, typically they might have given Primo a squash match. He would have lost very quickly, but there was multiple false finishes. You got to wonder, maybe was Sin Cara backstage saying, this guy's getting a competitive match?
Well, Primo must have been absolutely over the moon, big time, with that one. He can go, that Primo. I think he's kind of like a bit of a dark horse, like Chavo a little bit, If you give him, I think what we spoke about last week with the give him an inch, you got to step it up. I think definitely Primo did that this week on his first Raw match in probably about 7 years.
That's right, it's been a long time, and maybe this will be a good thing for Mexican workers. Alberto Del Rio in there, likely to be world heavyweight champion very, very soon, and at the same time you also have a guy like Sin Cara going nuts on Raw. I mean, that was incredible.
He obviously will be the next Rey Mysterio, better than Rey Mysterio. I mean, sure, he's had a little, the few botches, the Primo match especially on Raw. At the end, that wasn't supposed to happen when him falling down. Obviously, he got back up. He did the same thing with the kick, and then the crazy flip into the pin. I've never seen anything like that, I don't think. Where it was a backflip and then landing on top of Primo for an actual pin cut. I've never seen that shit. That's fucking amazing. And he's going to be big in the WWE, definitely. Good find for them. Good find, Triple H. I think found him, correct?
Yeah.
To be honest, those two crowds for Raw and SmackDown, I think it was New York, but they were incredible. They even put SmackDown over.